Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of our Eat, Sleep, Arsenal, Repeat podcast. The adults are away this week. No Doc, no Soph. So I've got this lads with me to have a chat for the next however long we end up talking. I'm joined by Owen. How you doing, mate? You good, you well?
I'm good. Yeah, the adults are away, so the kids can play. Which is actually, I'm not too sure. Raj has a bit of a rebellious streak in him, and I'm not sure Soph can be taken too seriously either. But um, apart from that, no, I tell you, I'm pretty fuming because the sole reason I'm free tonight is because I've been anticipating probably like thousands or the tens of people that will watch this. The release of Ted Lasso, the new season, and I'm gutted to find out that it's a weekly release. I thought it was all going to be released at once, so my heart's broke.
I've not watched the first episode because, as you know, the other half is away. And there's a few series that are on at the moment that I can't watch. And all like The Last of Us is one.
Finished it.
Yeah, don't tell me. Ted Lasso is the other one. And there's another series as well. I watched the Love Island final, so I was all caught up on that. That's the important thing. But yeah, there's something else. But yeah, I can't watch anything because she's away.
How far does your sort of morals stretch? Would you not be the sort of frowned upon Netflix cheat where you go and you watch the show and then just pretend that you'd never?
I mean, no, because my time is worth way more. Like, I value time above most things. So having to watch the same thing twice actually feels me like I outright, when we have like a movie night, unless it's like my two favorite films, I will refuse to watch something I've watched before. Or I'll refuse to watch something either I've watched or even that she's watched and I haven't seen. Because I don't like the idea of her seeing it twice. I'd rather us both react to something we've never. Does that make sense? I feel like that's weird.
Yeah, it's like watch jealousy. It's that could be a problem for sure. You're way more moral than I am. I would 100% watch something and then pretend I've never seen it before. It reminds me of, and I know this is completely non-football related, but I think I was about.
Just by the way, listeners, this podcast will probably be like 70% non-Arsenal, but we've all talked about Arsenal.
yeah. But when I was about 15 or so, everybody knows what 15-year-olds are like. I was going on dates with a different girl every week.
Dates at 15. I mean,
yeah, man, I was an absolute player. Yeah, believe it or not, I was a fine piece back in the day. But essentially, what I kept doing was going with a different girl every maybe week or 5 days, whatever it was. And my classic thing used to be go to the cinema. It's the bog standard thing to do with a girl. And man, I'm ashamed to say that I seen "P.S. I Love You" about 6 times in a month. And see the gut wrenching feeling of what do you want to go see "P.S. I Love You" and not being able to tell them that you were with a different girl there the week before. I'm sick of the sight of Jared Butler.
Oh my goodness! Oh wow! So, but clearly it was a successful tactic because you found some keepers with that. So well done. Yeah, nice one. I feel encouraged to switch gears to Arsenal at least for a bit before we go on to more. The reason why this is mostly going to be mainly me and Owen talking and less so anything specific is obviously we're recording this on Wednesday night, going out Thursday, which is of course when Arsenal play Sporting. So anything we were to talk about really would be out of date within 6 hours. However, there are a couple of evergreen things that we can discuss. The first thing on Gabriel Jesus's return is we've now been revealed to us, or it's been revealed to us, that there is going to be a documentary about his return. I saw a varying level of response to this news. My response to kick off was, oh, sick. Like, that's great. I can't wait to watch it. And I can't wait to see what the whole process was. But I saw people saying they should have waited until like he had done something when he's returning. Other people saying like the focus should be very much on the title. Why are we bothering with a documentary behind the scenes on this? And some people saying, of course, they just don't really like the behind the scenes stuff, to which I say, don't watch it. It's as simple as that. But what do you make of this documentary?
Yeah, well, look, it's a funny one because I actually think that this is quite clever in terms of whatever you want to call it, marketing or strategy or whatever it is, with the timing of this, because obviously the interlull is coming up. So I'm not sure when the release date is, but if that would be fantastic if that series was available within that week or so period where there's going to be no club action. The other thing is, we sort of got a rough draft of this with Hector Bellerin, which obviously was done, I think, independently. He done that himself, and I would say that Hector Bellerin, how do I put this lightly, is a polarizing figure within the fan base. We know that rubbed certain sections of the fan base up the wrong way, and many times throughout his career with Arsenal, I think unfairly at times he was targeted and singled out from a bad bunch and received a lot of stick. So you could say that he was mixed feelings around Hector Bellerin's reputation at Arsenal. But what I will say is that documentary was pretty widely positively received. I think a lot of people enjoyed the insight. And what I'm looking forward to is that whilst I did like Hector Bellerin, I absolutely adore Gabriel Jesus as a player, as a character, just as a person. And I think to get a more because we're obviously, I think, going to see much more in-depth access, given that this is a club-backed production. So for me to get a window into how the club treated not just those foreign surgeries and stuff like that there, but in terms of the full insight into the rehabilitation that he's gone through, and how emotionally as well he handled that, because we all know Gabriel Jesus is an extremely motivated person. You could see him itching to get back on the pitch. I think Mikel Arteta probably had to rein him in a few times in previous weeks, but I think for somebody who was so prevalent at the start of the season to be unfortunately taken out of the limelight, this is a good way for everybody to catch up on how he settled in at the club.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing the whole process behind, as you say, the doctors, the surgery, the feedback, the reactions from him. Obviously how he responded to missing out on what he loves to do day in, day out. The mental side of that, because I know that Andy loves to take the mick out of the fact that I bring it up all the time, apparently, but I did indeed rupture my ACL, so I've gone through that myself. And I know, like, the mental implications is very different, for us average Joes, if you like. Took me 2 years to get back to things, mainly because the hospital I was at lost the MRI scan and I had to have another one done. That doesn't necessarily have to happen for Gabriel Jesus. But obviously it's a much quicker turnaround. And in particular, I want to see kind of the reaction of his body to the recovery process, because from all intents and purposes, it's been an accelerated return. And he's kind of surprised the likes of Gary O'Driscoll at the club with that factor. Is there any concern for you? Obviously, we're playing Sporting tonight when this goes out. Is there concern for you about rushing him back too quickly?
I'm quite a pessimistic person, so I'll always be concerned in situations like this. But I think these first few weeks in particular are often where relapses happen, and as you said, there's such a sensitive part of the body, those ligaments, especially with things like tears and after surgery, and it's a pretty sketchy process. But I think it's amazing when you look back. It only feels like a few weeks ago that we were sitting and I was asking Dr. Raj about the size of Gabriel Jesus's leg and some of the rehabilitation photographs that were put out on the website. Yeah. And that was really, really concerning. And for me to see him come back, and sometimes something needs to go from your life and then be reintroduced just to see how good it is. And whilst players like Leandro Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli and Eddie Nketiah, I think, has done a brilliant job. All those guys as a collective, I mean, what a job they've done in terms of filling in. But he just looks like a completely different level to the rest of them. And if that's him, Rusty, coming back off a long-term injury, God help anybody that's in his way come towards the tail end of the season. But the one thing I will say is that this is a good position to be in. This is a sort of luxury that we haven't had in years gone by, and it's where a player comes back and it's bang, push him straight back into action because we're so desperate. With the performances of those players that I just mentioned, Martinelli and Trossard, we don't need to take any risks. If it's tonight against Sporting, if it was me and it was my choice, 20-25 minutes max towards the end of the game. Another thing I worry about as well with that game in particular is that you know, we know where Sporting are sitting in their domestic league. This is probably the biggest opportunity they have for you know, some form of success in their season. So their players are going to be motivated, and I would expect, you know, heavy challenges, everything that you could imagine with one of these big games. They're going to be geared up to go. So I would be wrapping them in bubble wrap until the international break comes over us, and then get them back into full flow.
Yeah, it's really tempting, isn't it, to throw him in? I mean, I put him in my starting lineup for the preview show, and I finished that, and I was like, you know, what if the worst case scenario happens? But there's that intrigue about what he can do. You know, at the end of the day, the club are going to make the right decision. The club have had experiences with Thomas Partey of rushing a player back, of throwing him into the action too soon, and then experiencing the drawback of that. So they will know what they're doing. They will have had the experience, and certainly I don't expect them to not put Jesus into the field if they don't think he's ready. Jesus will know the frustration of being out and will not want to re-injure himself either. And so if he says to Mikel Arteta he's ready, he's ready. You know, I can't remember who it was I was listening to, but I remember there was someone was saying like he may have actually been ready a couple of weeks ago, but because he's returned so quickly, but they just wanted to make sure that he was fully fit and ready and available before we considered using him. But yeah, I guess maybe bringing him on in the second half tonight means that we are in a situation whereby the defence are more tired, so he's not going off from the bat. And then at the weekend against Crystal Palace, maybe you've got the opportunity to use him. But the thing is, with Leandro Trossard being so good, there isn't any pressure on that as there was before, is there?
No, and this is the beauty of the squad that we have sort of formed. Not us. Let's give the credit to the guys who have done it. It's Edu and Mikel Arteta. And I think that what's amazing is that every single one of them players are tactically so astute. They understand the game so well. It's like when you think about a Jurgen Klopp player, you know the type of player that he wants. You know, high energy, high intensity, fast paced, heavy metal football. When I think about a Mikel Arteta player, that's what I think of now, is that somebody who has a very, very good understanding of the game and the ability to adapt and play different positions, be fluid, rotate. And that's the beauty of having these players now, is that when you look at the game, say, for example, against Fulham, it's no coincidence that we're starting to see Gabriel Martinelli shine again with Leandro Trossard in that game, because his natural instinct is to drift out left and those rotations start to form. So, yeah, I have absolutely no issue with keeping Gabriel Jesus out of the limelight. Another point I'll make, just to revert back to the documentary, I think we're in a pretty cool position, and you in particular, because this is maybe something that, not to put ideas into your head, but something that maybe yourself and Raj could do separately, which is break down that documentary, because we're talking about, was Gabriel Jesus ready a few weeks ago? Well, pretty soon we're going to have the insight to see when exactly he was ready, and the process that reintroducing him sort of played out as, and to see Raj's opinions on that would be very, very good, because as a layman, maybe whilst watching this documentary, I mightn't be able to understand specifically exactly what is being said or what's happening or the process of returning from something like this. So to get his insight and something like that would be fantastic, I think.
Yeah, definitely an idea. We're still waiting for information on the release date of the series, but as soon as we get that, yeah, fantastic idea, and I think we'll do it. If only copyright didn't exist and we could watch it at the same time. But maybe if we do some stills from the series, that's the way forwards, that we'd be able to look at it. So yeah, we'll definitely cross that bridge when we come to it. We did receive some unfortunate injury news regarding Eddie Nketiah. Mikel Arteta spoke about him in his pre-match press conference, said that he's a few weeks away, which is a big blow. I know that there's people out there that don't necessarily rate Nketiah. I know Mike's screaming, "That's me," into his microphone right now, as in me, not Mike. But you know, he's done a great job, I think, in the absence of Jesus. We left, obviously, the post World Cup period 5 points in front of Man City. Jesus has been missing this entire time. We're still 5 points in front of Man City. And that is in part, a big part, to do with Eddie Nketiah. His goals against Brighton, his goal against West Ham, his goal against Manchester United. You know, performances like he had against Tottenham as well. He didn't score, but he was really good. And yes, there's been some games where he's missed chances. We think about Man City, you think about Brentford, but it's important to remember that, you know, what he was replacing was this world-class striker, and we've managed to maintain that gap. So this is a blow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that I, like you, have been, I'd say, heavily critical of Eddie Nketiah in the past. For me, in his younger years, whilst he was still on the fringes, he just seemed like a kid to me who needed somebody to grab him and shake him and tell him, look at the opportunity that lies in front of you. And when you're given the opportunities, you need to go out and make it look like you're putting in effort, because sometimes games just passed him by. But for me, he was already over the edge. He was gone. But for him to sort of pull himself back up by the bootstraps and go out and take on those criticisms likely that Mikel Arteta give him, I seen a massive improvement in work rate. His ability to hold the ball up was something I didn't think he would be able to do. His link up play, whilst still sort of well under the bar set by Gabriel Jesus and Leandro Trossard, I still think it was pretty good. But what I would say is that in recent weeks he has tailed off, which to be honest, I did expect. That was all my concern, is I didn't think that Eddie could sustain that level of output. Um, because we have to remember, he wasn't used to starting that many games. You know, he hasn't got that many miles in his legs. He hasn't got that conditioning. So if I was to put a positive spin on this injury, which, look, I'm not saying it's a positive that the guy's picked up an injury, he's an asset, and I would rather have him there than not. But what I would say is Eddie's a confidence player for me. He's somebody that needs to feel wanted. And for me, this buys Mikel Arteta a few weeks of having to try and please the player to give him the minutes that he wants, and introduce Gabriel Jesus and have Leandro Trossard as his backup, if that's what he wants to do. But for me, that's the positive spin on it, you know, that we're still well equipped to deal with the running.
Yeah, and again, that is a testament to the business that we've done. I think maybe we underestimated the influence that Leandro Trossard would have when we signed him in January. And I think you look at what maybe would have happened if we'd have signed Mudryk instead. I don't see him adapting in the same way, obviously, that Trossard has to the move, because he's already got that experience. I don't see Mudryk deputising as centre forwards like Trossard has. And yes, I think he'll probably become a great player and develop into a fantastic player in the future. But if anything, it might be a fortunate accident in a way that we never got Mudryk, and this season instead we've got Trossard, because he's just been able to be in looks so good. I mean, the problem is Arteta's got now is you look at that performance from Trossard against Fulham, and I'm like, he shouldn't be dropped at all. He should stay in the team for the foreseeable future. But how do you approach this when you've got someone like Jesus available to you?
It's a head scratcher, but again, we're so fortunate to be in this position, and that's the thing now, is not only the players available that are available can basically play any single one of those positions up top. Like, you have, say for example, 6 players, is it? You have Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka, Leandro Trossard, Emile Smith Rowe, like Fabio Vieira in that mix as well. Like, you can create a multitude of variations of where these guys can line up. You know, Gabriel Jesus out on the right, Leandro Trossard up top, Martinelli on the left, Saka on the right. You know, whatever you want. And I have complete faith that that front three could blow the vast majority of teams away. But I do agree with you. I think that Trossard has maybe put Mikel Arteta in a bit of a difficult position, because who do you drop? Who do you drop? Gabriel Martinelli is coming back into form. Like, Bukayo Saka, whilst I think has been slightly quieter, I think people are over exaggerating. You know, that he's been bad against Fulham or had a bit of a ghost game against Fulham. I don't think that whatsoever. I think he's vital and integral to the way that front three play. But put it like this: Mikel Arteta has paid a lot of money to sit in that manager's chair, and to be honest with it, he deserves it, with you know, head scratching puzzles like this to work out.
Yeah. If there's anyone on this earth that I'd want to have to make this decision right now, it's him. The decisions that have been made have got us into this position, and that can't be disregarded. So yeah, I look forward to seeing how the dynamic kind of solves itself, because it's going to be very interesting indeed. Of course, with this being the Eat Sleep Arsenal Repeat podcast, I do want to hop over to our Strava group. If you're not involved in our Strava group, make sure that you do. You go to www.strava.com/clubs/ESARP. Just hopping over to the leaderboards from this week. I know we've not done a show for the last couple of weeks, so it's always good to get a bit of a catch up. I find it staggering. You still see the people contribute. I know that we've not been around for a couple of weeks, but without the regular four of us being able to do the show, it's been very busy these last couple of weeks. But Lee Maddox, 45 hours worth of exercises. That's ridiculous. I mean, that's ridiculous because the second place, Ross, who's still done brilliantly, was 7 hours. 45. What? I mean, could you ever see yourself doing 45 hours worth of exercise?
Don't think I've ever done 45 hours worth of anything.
I don't know how I don't know how that works. Like,
can I ask?
I guess that potentially commute unless he's cheating and like just putting the Strava on in the car.
Yeah. Just a super hyper competitive dude. Tell me this, and maybe this is me being you can think of a multitude of words to describe me, but bad. See, when I look at these Strava groups,
am
I bad for not really appreciating cycling as an exercise?
Some people love cycling.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
Say, for example, if someone clocks a 30-mile cycle, I am more impressed by a 5-mile run.
Yeah. What's more impressive, a 30-mile cycle or a 5-mile run? I'd argue the run, because when you run downhill, right, you're still putting in energy and it hurts your knees, right? When you cycle downhill, just chill, mate. You're just sitting.
Maybe actually, Jesus, I've stumbled across the exercise that perfectly suits me.
You just need to find a really big hill, get driven to the top, sit on your bike, and then just sit all the way down.
Gravity-assisted cross-country cycling.
Yes, that is your sport. That's your niche. You found it. Yeah. So when you're getting in shape for the wedding, it's that's what you're going to have to do. Oh, dearie me. Lovely stuff. Yes. So that's the Strava group. If you are, we've got 110 members involved already, which I know obviously this is a very niche group, but very happy we've already got a community of people that have even met up with one another in Spain, believe it, of all places, which is brilliant. So yes, do get involved with our Strava group. It's www.strava.com/club/ESARP to join up. So yes, I want to talk about in the last kind of portion of the show is kind of the fitness and health at the moment. Obviously, when I got married, Owen, I tried to lose weight. I know that you've got this fateful day coming up for you as well. Are you now working on trying to get as much in shape as you can?
No. Look, with me, I always find that I would hate to see the position that I'd be in if it wasn't for playing football. Also with my work, I do walk quite a lot as well. So that's something, when I come home from work, my missus is always wanting to go for a walk. And it's like, I've already walked 10 miles today. This is brutal. I don't record that in Strava, by the way, when I do that, because it doesn't count, apparently.
Why? I put golf onto Strava.
Yeah. But you're injured. I'm just lazy. So there's a difference. As I've mentioned before in previous podcasts, look, I'm somebody that I wouldn't say I'm not motivated. That's not something, but or certain things motivate me. I need something to be held accountable for, or some target goal to aim for. That can't be about appearance, or that doesn't do it for me. The whole slimming down or losing weight or this or that. It has to be some sort of sport and competitive reason. For example, a white collar boxing event. I done that years ago, and that was one of the best things I ever did to get me in shape. Or a 10K race or something like that. I need something. So I think that I need to find something to get back at it. But here, I remember we did a challenge a while back, Tom, and I know that you're off your feet in terms of running. So how would you feel about setting?
I should be back soon, to be fair.
How would you feel about a push-up, a certain amount of push-ups a day challenge or something? between us, and the listeners can get involved too.
I feel good. I mean, my push-ups are. I'm trying to remember the last time I did a push-up.
That's not a good start.
Yeah. So I don't know how many I'm going to be able to do.
Could you do 100 a day?
100 a day?
Yeah. Well, if you do 5 sets of 20 at any time of the day, you're fine.
I'd have to try and do a push-up just to know how hard one is.
Go.
I mean, when I used to gym, I used to do chest press a lot, but it's different. So, you know, because obviously you're pushing up your own body weight. I think maybe, I'll get back to you on the push-up challenge, and in the comment section below, let us know how many you can do. Be truthful. Don't, you know, I can do 735.
Yeah.
Tell us how many you can actually do, and if you can actually do 735, fair play to you. But
I actually find that this is I'm obviously out of shape now, but I was in really good shape years ago, and I used to think that I never lifted weights, never. I never did weights or gym sessions or anything like that, because I always thought, and it was one of my old kickboxing instructors told me that people who lift weights tend to pick up injuries, and that's because they're trying to lift too much weight too soon. Whereas if you start to do body weight work like press ups and squats and blah, it's always the perfect weight, no matter what. You know that you're never gonna lift too much when you're lifting your own body weight, unless you're me or Mike. Not anymore. Mike's small now.
Mike's done brilliantly. Like unreal. I saw it. Did you see him on his day out the other day with for his birthday with some of the Florida lads? Incredible. Yeah, fair play to him. He's done brilliantly well. He should be in the Strava group. He's what he should be. He should be logging anything he's doing. But no, he's done amazingly well. So send your congratulations to Mike at the Gooners Pods, who I look forward to seeing, of course, next month in Chicago. I'm assuming that probably most of the tickets now have sold out, if not all of them already. So, but there is other events going on across the weekend of the 21st of April. So go to the Chicago Gooners website to find out all the information on that. It'd be great to see so many people. I mean, there's no tickets available in terms of the Thursday night in the Globe pub for the Europa League game. So just come along to that because I don't think you need a ticket for that. So, yeah, just come along. And that's, of course, if Arsenal actually win tonight against Sporting. They've got to do that first before we get to that round. Otherwise, we're going to be playing Southampton on a Friday night, which is going to be very interesting indeed. So, yeah, I think that in terms of our show today, we've covered Arsenal. We've covered some personal fitness stuff, which of course you guys can give your feedback to as well. We haven't got Sofa or the Doc, so it was always going to be a bit of a shorter one. But Owen, is there anything that you'd like to finish off? Any final thoughts? Any burning things you've got on your mind?
I wanted to ask your opinion on this because I don't know whether I'm overreacting before we go. Eric Ten Hag came out and in his press conference this evening was throwing out a sob story of his players being suspended, injured or ill, and used Arsenal as the shining example of squad availability of the season. What do you reckon about that? That I'm fuming.
I don't think you should be fuming. I don't think he's trying to dig Arsenal out. I think he's just kind of look from the distance, right? I have sympathy for his point of view. Yes, the obvious argument is we've lost Gabriel Jesus for 4 months. That's the obvious response. But that's nothing compared to some of the Liverpool injury spates that they've had. Like some of the spates in Liverpool have had has been ridiculous. Like Chelsea have had a number of really big issues as well. I think on the whole, Arsenal have been fairly fortunate this season with injuries. So I'm not annoyed by what he said. He could just not bring up Arsenal, and that would avoid anything. He could just mention that they've been unlucky with injuries, but he didn't. He did choose Arsenal, and that was a risky and a little bit maybe naive tactic.
Yeah, he's poking the bear. The dude obviously doesn't understand our fan base whatsoever. But see, it's annoying for me because I know, and put your swords away for a second until I explain my point. I'm trying to like Man United. Not always. There's nothing in the world. There's nothing in the world I hate more than Man United. Even
Spurs.
that lot down the road. No, United's top for me. I hate them.
Really? Wow.
Oh, despise them. But what I'm trying to do is have some sort of a positive look on clubs like United and clubs like Liverpool and clubs like Tottenham, because they're self-made to a certain extent, and I for the life can't get over people cheering Newcastle in the League Cup final, and I can't understand for the life of me people heaping praise and support on the Man City this year with the alleged allegations hanging over them. I don't understand it. When you look at a club like Arsenal, who have done everything the right way, who have the youngest players, have a young manager who played for the club, it's getting to me that
You know why though? It's nothing to do with the club or the football. You know why people hate us, right?
because Lee Judges. No,
Yeah,
I'm just
it's
joking.
because of Lee Judges. Yeah, it's because of Lee Judges. But no, it's because of the fans, mate. It's because as a fan base, we've got some terrible fans. And we've got, as a whole, we are one of the most reactionary fan bases out there. You know, I'm guilty of it as well. I love winding up rival fans. You know what I love about one of the things I love the most about the fact that the Mikel Arteta has kind of brought unity amongst the Arsenal fans. 99% of us are all back in this thing. 99.9, I think there's very few people that aren't now, is that finally the Civil War is over and the war with other clubs has absolutely gone to a new level. And I love that being back. That's what it used to be for us. It used to be us against the world, and it's felt like it's us against other members of our own club for so long that I've forgotten about the hatreds of Chelsea and Spurs and United, because there's been so many other prats within the fan base that we've had to worry about, arguing with, debating with, and even entertaining the ludicrousy of their opinions, when actually the real enemy has always been everybody else other than Arsenal fans. And I love the fact that we've got that back again this season. So, yeah, I'm kind of like, I understand their hatred for us, Owen. So, no, I'm not going to start trying to like those. I get where you're coming from 100% with what you're saying regarding Newcastle and Man City. You're absolutely right. But what you have to understand is no one likes us, mate. No. And the reason why you say you hate Man United more than any, there'll be Man United fans, Chelsea fans that hate Arsenal more than any other club because of the fan base. It's as simple as that.
I thought we were quite sort of reserved and modest, and it's still 50-50. I'm not sure whether we're going to win the league, but you are obviously out there blowing your trumpets. I'm trying to keep things cool at the minute.
Oh, mate, this might not happen. We might not win the league. So whilst I can use this, I'm going to use it and squeeze every last inch out of this potential league title win. Yeah, mate, if we win the league this season, no one's safe. No one is safe.
No.
Yeah.
No. Especially not if we hit London up all together as well. That's in the works as well. Not that I'm premature planning anything, but it's on the cards. It's on the cards.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Owen, thank you so much for your time this evening, mate. Much appreciated.
No, it's a pleasure as always, buddy. Pleasure as always. And hopefully we're sipping down pints in the Tolly in May with a golden badge strapped to our top for next season.
That would be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You can find Owen on Twitter at Owen Young A.F.C. Make sure you find him. That's EOIN for Owen. I always have to make sure that you say that. Owen Young A.F.C. on Twitter. You can find myself at Tom Cantabindia or at the Gooner Talk TV. Let us know down in the comment section below how many press ups you can do. Just try and be truthful and make me feel better, because that would be very much appreciated. Owen can do how many you reckon you could do? Do you reckon you could do 100 push-ups
in a day? Yeah.
Yeah, so you give yourself the whole day.
Yeah. So I could probably do 30 in a go, I'd say.
Wow.
Around that.
Yeah, I think that's impressive.
Yeah, especially when you're as fat as I am. But that's my bread and butter, that type of stuff. Yeah, 30 maybe. But look, any outlandish claims, and we'll be asking for video evidence. So
yes, we will. And Strava group, if you want to post your videos, you're doing as many press ups, feel free. Chuck them in there. It's www.strava.com/club/ESARP. You've been listening to the Eat, Sleep, Arsenal Repeat podcast. Please do drop a like on the video. Please subscribe to the Gooner Talk if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the Gooners Pod, where you can see more of Owen as well, and Mike and Jared and Andy, if he bothers ever showing up, and Mike Hertz, of course, and plenty others too. So do go and tune in over there and continue to watch over here. Drop a like if you've enjoyed it. We'll see you again very soon next week. Fingers crossed with Sophie and Raj back as well. But other than that, it's been a pleasure. And as always, up the Arsenal.